Hello everyone, here we are analyzing a game from Grubby. So let's freaking go, guys. Sorry my English, that is not perfect. Anyway, let's see here what mistakes Grubby did on this game. Okay. For the ones who doesn't know, who probably it's all of you, I'm not a pro, okay? I'm like 1800 level on a good day. So I'm not a pro, but I have I know a little bit here and there on what to do and on what not to do, right? But anyway, once again, sorry my English, that is not very good, but I believe you guys will understand me here, no problem. Anyway, so let's see here. Okay, already a big mistake here, which is only one sheep on the TC. Then you have all your villagers idle here, which is a big problem because on Dark Age you don't want idle villagers and stuff. So here he already did a huge mistake. Let's just restart the game right away and see once again what he should have done. So first, the sheep should be a little bit more here, I believe, because it would be a little bit more efficient this way, right? So if you have a lot of villagers here, they will bump each other here and it won't be super efficient. So ideally the sheep should be here or maybe here or maybe here, right? These would be the best spots for the sheep. So one tip that I give here is don't try to explore with 3 sheep, okay? Just 2 sheep and the scout is more than enough. But okay, you can explore with 3 sheep, but right at this moment you should already take a sheep here and bring to the TC right here, okay? Because it's already always finishing this sheep here, so you will have all these villagers idle, so your sheep should be already here. So you can explore with 3 sheep, but you need to control the timing here and not let this happen, right? So the sheep should be here already, okay? But okay, let's see how it goes. So not a huge mistake because your villager was super close to the boar. By the way, I'm using a mod here that makes the boar Snorlax, okay? But anyway, the villager was super close to the boar. So what he should have done here, he should run a little bit here, walk a little bit with the villager here, just to gain some space, okay, between the villager and the boar. And then he shoots the boar, okay? This way he was super close to the boar, so he might get a lot of hits on the villager. So he gotta do a house here to cancel the boar and gain a little space. What are you talking about? Making a house to cancel the boar? What? Well, basically you take this villager here and you build a house on top of the boar. This way it will cancel the lure here, right? So you cancel the lure, gain some space, and then you shoot the boar again, and then you bring the boar to the TC. Here, another mistake, obviously, right? You don't want to kill the sheep super far away from the TC. So once again, ideally here, here, or here would be the best spots here for the sheep, right? But okay, besides that, he's exploring pretty okay here. I believe this scout should be already here. When you find a deer, just lure the deer, right? Because deers are super good. I'm using a mod that makes the deer these smurfs here, right? But anyway, if you have a deer map, just try to lure the deer would be the ideal thing to do, okay? But if you are a super beginner and luring deer is super hard for you, then okay, you can just ignore this. But Grubby was already 1700, which is a very nice level. Right now he's around 1500, more or less. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he knows how to lure deer, no problem. So this scout is doing nothing here, right? You already explored pretty well, and you will explore all these areas with the sheep already. So you don't need your scout going here. Look at that. He shift explored here with one. Look at that. If you click here, we have this flag here and these, right? So he explored all that with the scout, right? And he's also exploring here with the sheep. So this scout should be here because he explored here. Okay, I found the deer. Let me already start luring the deer. That would be really nice. And this area here, you can explore this whole area with just the sheep here. You send the sheep here, 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 all around here, and then you send to the TC. Or you can also use this ship here. Okay, so you explore all this area here with the ship, and maybe this other ship here you can use here in the back and explore all this area here as well. Okay, but anyway, let's see how it goes now. I think he's doing something really good here because he did 6 villagers on sheep, and then already sent 1 villager to the boar who is in the front, right? People like to lame a lot, right? So this is very good to lure the deer a little bit faster than you normally do. So a classic build order would be 6 villagers on sheep and then 3 or 4 on the wood, and only then you take the boar. But another way of doing it is just like this. You put 6 on sheep and already the next villager you get the boar. So that's a very nice way to get the boar a little earlier, so you avoid getting super lamed or something. And it's easier to click up a bit faster when you lure the boar a bit faster, right? So if you take the boar a bit faster, you might click up more easily with, for example, 19 pop or 18 pop. I wouldn't recommend 18 pop for real. I think 19 pop is excellent and more than enough. So here, yeah, not a super very good lure, but okay. And once again, TC idle TC, a lot of idle TC. So he blundered. Like I play chess too, so when we make a big mistake in chess, we say that we blundered. And here I believe Grubby blundered a little bit here in the Dark Age, starting when he only put only 1 sheep here inside the TC. That was a huge blunder in my opinion. And once again, he's exploring here with the scout, but he should be luring here, and he could explore here with the sheep. But okay, he's gonna go all around here probably and take the last 2 sheep there, so completely fine. But yeah, not the best lure, killed a little far away from the TC, but okay. But once again, he had some idle TC time, which was not ideal. So he's 10 villagers and opponent is 1 villager ahead already. So yeah, so yes, the opponent already has some advantage here. By the way, look at this boar is already finishing, so he should already send a villager here to the other boar, right? So once this boar finished, he should already have the other boar here, and then he goes for the next boar right away. So yeah, a little bit of mistakes here and there on the timing, but okay. By the way, he's Malay. Interesting. Now let's see how it goes. Okay. Not a super bad lure, but okay. Decent lure. But it could be a little bit better too. But anyway, he's luring the deer, not this one, but okay. This one is okay because his scout was already close to this area. So I guess it's fine to lure those. Even though they are a bit more far away than these two. So maybe I would lure this one, and maybe I would send the scout to this area and lure the other two. Maybe. But it's also very important to get information on what your opponent is doing and where he is, where his TC is and stuff. How is his map, and etc. Right? So I don't know if at this point he should still be try to lure another deer. Maybe just one would be okay, and then he try to find the opponent already, or maybe not, or maybe he can lure another deer. I don't care. I mean, either way, I guess it's good. But you know, sometimes you want to not lure every single deer and try to explore your opponent a bit faster. Since the opponent is Mongols, and we have a deer map, the opponent might be also luring deer, because Mongols is really good to take the hunt food, right? so they get food from the boar and the deers a bit faster, right? I mean much faster actually. So the opponent will probably lure some deers and will probably go up very fast and go for scout. So I don't know if you really need to explore your opponent so fast here, because you might know already what your opponent is going to do. So maybe you don't need to explore him so fast. By the way, if you try to explore him super fast here and your opponent goes up faster than you, then his scout will be faster and will have more attack and will kill your scout. So you gotta pay attention to that and be careful with your scout. But melee goes up very fast to the next stages, so maybe he might go up at the same time as the opponent. Let's see. Okay, we got a lot of villagers on one sheep here, but okay. He put 3 on wood, I guess that's fine too. So as melee, you can go, for example, 22 pop and still go up at a very fast time. But here I guess he will do 20 pop and then or maybe not. Okay. He might go 22 pop then, maybe. One thing that I would be already thinking here was walls, okay? So maybe I would get this villager and start walling here a little bit. In my mind, I can imagine here, for example, a house, maybe a barracks here in the future or something, and then some palisades, and then maybe archery range here on this area. So these are some ideas, but walling all that can also be, you know, you take a lot of time and resources here. So maybe you shouldn't try to wall all that right away, right in the Dark Age. Maybe in the future. So I guess it's okay. You don't really need to wall. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Yes, the problem is he don't have any information. So maybe your opponent will go for scouts, or maybe your opponent could be drushing or making mana terms. So he gotta pay attention to that, because if we get mana terms here, it can be a problem. So maybe he could at least for now wall a little bit here, right? Like just a few palisades here in that area. So yeah, he will be a little bit more safe. So if your opponent comes to drush or mana terms, you already have some walls here, maybe a little bit of walls here, here, for example. And if he tries to get inside your base, you need to go inside the TC. So you enter the TC with the villagers and kill his army. So these are some ideas, right? But anyway, I don't know what this villager is doing out there, but okay. Now I think he's being very greedy, in my opinion. He wants to lure another deer. I think that's good enough. He already lured 2 deers, I believe, right? And we are already going to Field Age. I believe he needs to get information, right? And now the opponent upgraded to the Field Age, as I said, very fast, and by the way, stable. So he's going stable and going to do some scouts. This scout, by the way, red here could be using a little bit better, exploring Grubby a little bit more, getting more information. Okay, he's explored very well the TC, the base, right? He knows where the resources are. But for example, this scout, he could be, you know, running around here, and then he will see, oh, okay, Grubby is trying to lure. So you have your scout here, and then you bring the scout, and he would kill the scout and would stop the lure and probably kill the scout, because you are already failed up, already Field Age, and your opponent isn't. So this scout should be already here trying to get Grubby's scout. Okay, that would be a really nice advantage. But anyway, he's walling here already with, oh, okay, there we go. And exactly what I thought happened. So here, what Grubby, no, I think that's kind of risky. So I was thinking maybe put the scout on stand ground and then keep trying to lure the deer here. Like ignore the scout and go for the lure here. So your scout will get damage, but maybe he could still lure the deer, but the deer is a bit far away still, so I don't think this would work. Maybe if I was playing here as Grubby, what I would have done would be give up on this lure and just bring the scout to the TC and just don't fight right now, because Exactly, right? Just run for your life, and then join this. Okay, okay, okay. Very nice. Okay, he tried very good, but now he should have done some quick wall there. Or now it's time to bring the scout. Yes, there we go. So bring the scout, you lure the thief. Nice. Okay, he's playing pretty well so far. He did some mistakes, but nice decisions here, and exactly what I thought. You should bring this villager next to the TC, already do the farm and finish this house with another villager. Great stuff. This wall is okay, but as I said, ideally it would be a wall a little bit more far away here, I would say, right? You could wall here with palisades in the beginning just to be safe, but at this point maybe wall a little bit more far away, maybe. So instead of doing this, I would probably have done maybe a house here, maybe the barracks here, some palisades, and then a stable or archery range here, etc., right? Because what is the problem with this type of wall here, guys? Basically, if your opponent in the future comes with archers or cavalry archers or whatever, he will get behind this gold here and he will attack all your villagers from gold and he will deny your gold. So this is kind of dangerous, right? So sometimes you want to do some more walls more far away, okay? But not always. Sometimes if you try making super far walls, you might die because of it, because you will need to wall a lot, you will need to walk a lot with the villagers. So and you will also spend more resources. So you know, it depends, right? It depends. But okay, so far so good. Maybe Grubby should consider making a tower on this area in the future. I don't know, but I believe Grubby don't like doing towers for some reason. Maybe because he loses the stone to make TCs in the future. But in some situations, making a tower is very necessary, so you don't die basically. And here a mistake in my opinion. That villager that did the house, she could have done another house here, for example, and another house here, or a house and some palisades. And this area here should be already walled. So at this point, your opponent is with the scouts here. He might go back here to kill the scout, or he might go in here, and you know, it would be a little bit of a disaster. So wall here would be very nice to have already, but okay, he forgot to do it or didn't think about it and is doing some quick walls on the berries, so he won't die to the scout. So nice stuff, but you know, another mistake on the quick walls, because if you see your opponent coming with the scouts from this side, why are you trying to quick wall on this other side first, right? So what he should have done here, he should have focused on walling this front side here first, because the scouts were coming from this side, right? So he should quick wall on this side, not this side. Okay, another thing that he could do, instead of trying to wall all around the villagers here, he could have done maybe a temporary house here. So he wouldn't finish the house, because a house here could be bad for farms and stuff, but just temporarily you make a house here, for example, and the scouts will try to get inside here, and this house will annoy the scouts, and then you get inside the TC here, and the scouts will try to come here, and then the TC will shoot the scouts, and he will lose the scouts, or at least get a lot of damage, and then you could finish the scouts fighting with the villagers basically. So a house here would be much simpler, much easier, and much faster quick wall, just to avoid the scouts, and then you would do a lot of damage to the scouts basically. But okay, and here another huge mistake, because Grubby apparently doesn't have a plan, so it's very important for you to have a plan. So here I didn't understand the build order. Like what was Grubby's plan here? Was he trying to do a drush, a man at arms, archers? Here he didn't do any army. So ideally what you want is you either go for drush, men at arms, archers, or scouts, right? These are the most common strategies, right? There are other strategies, for example, going for towers or going forward and stuff. But the most common strategies are these ones, but here he's not doing any of this, right? He just did a barracks and a spearman to defend, but look at that, he got 400 wood almost, and he's still no stable, no archery range, no nothing. So yeah, a little bit of mistakes, but okay. And now a blacksmith. Okay, archery and blacksmith, cool. Maybe, yes, maybe wall this is very nice. Interesting so far. Okay, but here another detail is that you have 14 villagers on the wood, so maybe he could add a second lumber camp here, for example, and maybe wall here, start walling here around here, maybe just to be safe, or send another spearman to this area, right? So you would protect these villagers here with the spearman. So it's very important, if your opponent is scouts, you make the spearman and you put next to the berries, next to the wood, for example, and then you are very safe, because if he gets the scouts here, you have the spearman to defend. But here he only got a spearman here on the berries. What he could do here, he could finish the quick walls here and get this this spearman and put him here, right? So he would have the spearman protecting here, and here would be safe because you are already walled, right? But he didn't do any of this. The spearman is here, he didn't finish the walls, and here's completely open still. And look at that, the scouts are coming, and maybe the scouts might get inside here and kill a lot of new villagers here. Okay, a mistake from red here, because he should come right away, right here, right? He's doing a, you know, he shouldn't put the scouts right here. He should come with the scouts right here, right? And he explored here, so he okay, he thought this was closed, but you know, I don't know, if I was red playing here, I would at least send the scouts next to here just to check, just to be in case, because sometimes you will open this wood and then you can get inside and kill the villagers. So he trusted that it was walled, but it was completely opened, right? So these scouts should have gone here, in my opinion, right? Because another thing is that you are already pressured on the berries, so your opponent might be expecting you to come to the berries again, because you know, you already know there are villagers there taking some berries. And if I was red playing here, I would imagine that my opponent Grubby, he you know, he might be walled here already, he might have a spearman here already, so I don't know if attacking here would be a nice idea. I would probably go around here and try to get inside here, or at least see if it's open, right? But he didn't even check. But yeah, if he just got inside here, he could kill a lot of villagers, and it will be a completely disaster. But okay, here is doing a nice job with the scouts, because okay, spearman kills the scouts, but you have a lot of scouts against only one spearman, and you have the heal, so you can kill the spearman, and that's exactly what he did. And he blocked the villager here to get the villager, so pretty. Oh, come on. Okay, he killed the villager. So red is doing a nice job with the scouts here. Maybe Grubby could make a house here and some palisades, so your opponent would never get inside here so easily. But okay, he ran away. And now Grubby makes another huge blunder, in my opinion. He's making skirms, guys. Why on earth are you making skirms? So your opponent is making scouts, so you shouldn't be making skirms, right? In my opinion, you should have done archers here. And by the way, it's 30 minutes and you are ready, and you still don't have any army. Like, you have one spearman and one skirm. So he did a huge mistake not building the archery range right away when he upgraded to field wage. So what I would have done if I was Grubby here, playing as Malay, I would go up, I would click up to fill the wage with more villagers, right? Because you can make a bit more of villagers, like 22, maybe 23 pop, and then you click up and with more villagers you will have a better economy when you get to feudal age, so it will be easier for you to go to feudal and already build your archery range and start making your archers. So here it's kind of too late. He should have a lot of archers already and etc, right? But okay, nice quick wall. He got inside the TC, very nice. And now, okay, yes, go back to work. But yeah, I don't think making skirms was the a very good decision. But okay, walling here, once again, I think he should wall this side too. Or maybe he could wall at this point, like make a gate here, for example, and wall this area here. And then you have your this whole area walled, but this is still open, right? So maybe he could wall all that with palisades too, maybe. And then if your opponent tries to get inside your base, he will need to go inside the TC. So wall here, these walls okay, and then wall in the front as well. At this point, since Grubby is so far behind, in my opinion, because he lost some villagers, his army was not the best, he didn't do any damage. So in my opinion, he should play defensive here, okay? Maybe even delete this palisade and then make some walls here very fast with houses and palisades, just to gain a little bit more of extra space here, right? Because in the future, if your opponent goes for archers or cavalry archers, he can get right here and kill a bunch of villagers. So he could make some walls here a little bit more far away, right? And it will be harder for the opponent to kill villagers here in the future with archers or cavalry archers. But okay, let's see how it goes. Okay, and now archers. I think making skirms was a huge mistake because these skirms won't do anything and you spend food to make the skirmishes, so it is not very good for you to go up to castle age, right? Also, I don't know, like, yeah, the problem here is that he doesn't have any information. Okay, maybe he saw the archery range, right? Yeah, he saw it, so he's expecting the opponent to make archers or skirms or maybe go up and make cavalry archers. I would be probably expecting cavalry archers because Mongols are very good with cavalry archers and your opponent already has a market and your opponent has a lot of farms. Look at that. So Grubby didn't explore his opponent very well, but he already saw that he got a lot of farms, he got a market, so he's probably already up. And if we see the opponent, exactly, it just confirms my theory, the opponent already clicked up. So a very common thing with Mongols is you don't necessarily need to make skirms or archers in feudal age. You can just go for scouts because you go up super fast to feudal age because your hunters, they gather the food much faster, so you can go up to feudal age very fast, make scouts, so you go for early aggression, and then in castle age you can make a transition to 2 archers maybe, or maybe 3 archers. I don't know if your economy is super good, but you know, at least like 2 archery ranges, and then you go for CA, right, cavalry archers, because Mongols are really good with cavalry archers, and cavalry archers are really good unit, right? So it's a very common thing. So if I was Grubby, I would be expecting cavalry archers here for my opponent, and seeing his base here, I would expect that he was already going up. So I would desperately try to make a market here and go up myself, so I don't get super behind my opponent, right? And here's already opened. So once again, look at that. It's a very small hole here because, you know, you gather you take the wood and it starts to open your wall. So once again, he could wall here, all the area here, so he will close all that. And okay, I thought maybe walling here, but here's also super good, maybe even better than my suggestion here. So yeah, pretty decent. But again, maybe a market here with that villager just to, okay, you already clicked up, okay, so maybe not, maybe you don't need the market. But yeah, I think you are very behind right now. So what should you do in this situation? Maybe try to make another lumber camp first of all, because this is not very good, not very efficient. They are walking so much to gather the wood here, so it's not very cool. Or a second lumber camp. Okay, excellent. But again, maybe another lumber camp here and maybe wall here on that area. And look at that, guys, another tip, a huge tip for everyone. Okay, let me just drink some water before I explain for you guys. Okay, so a huge tip here, guys. If you have a hill, this is a rule of AoE2 for you guys. If you have a hill, you have a hole. Okay, so if you are walling on the hill here, it will always have a hole. It's impressive. Like, you can swear that it's completely closed, but no, there's always a hole when it's on the hill. So you always need to double check walls on the hill. And when you're walling your base, what I recommend, send a villager or a spearman or whatever, send them outside your base, okay? Because if there is a hole on your walls, your unit will find out, and you will find out too, okay? So you do that by, for example, if I want to check if I have a hole on somewhere on my walls, I can close the gate, right? So you lock the gate so your units won't get go out with the gate. So you close the gate here, and then you pick a spearman, for example, and you click outside your base, okay? If there is a hole, your spearman will go right away through the hole, and you will realize, oh, okay, I'm not completely walled yet. But if there is no hole, your spearman will go somewhere, and he will be like kind of stuck here on the wall trying to go out, and he can't. Okay, so it's always important when you are walling to check with a spearman or a skirmisher or whatever. You sometimes you will even check with the villager, right? So I could, for example, get this villager here, click outside and see if there's a hole, and if he's going to that direction, for example, I might think, maybe there's a hole around here, maybe I have a hole here, or I have a hole here. Here I believe there's no hole, but yeah, you always need to do this. You always need to check, right? And here your army should be on the hill, right? I don't know why he moved all his army here behind. Okay, so if you have a hill, it's very important to try to control it somehow. So if your army is on the hill, you know, it's very nice, because on the hill you will give more damage, and you will receive less damage. So if you can control hills on the map, it's very nice. So for example, making castles on hills and stuff, this is very interesting, right? And you can always try to put your army on the hills and stuff like that. But okay, here a knight already got the villager, and here you might think, okay, I'm not understanding what my opponent is doing, because my opponent did an archery range, but he's also making knights. So what exactly is he going to do? So what Grubby should do, in my opinion, here, he should have sent at least a spearman to the front here to get information, guys. In AoE, it's super important for you to get information on what your opponent is doing. So here he didn't get any information, he didn't explore the opponent very well. So he doesn't even know where his resources are, how is his base, what is he doing. So if he sent a spearman here around to explore around here, maybe a skirmisher around here, he will see if the opponent is doing cavalry archers, or if he's only doing knights and stuff like that. So with those informations, Grubby can adapt his gameplay here, okay? But if you got no information, you won't know what exactly should I do, because you don't even know what your opponent's doing. So you gotta get information and adapt based on what your opponent is doing, right? So if you see that your opponent is going for cavalry archers, for example, maybe not a good idea to spam spearman, for example, right? Because the cavalry archers will destroy the spearman. So you gotta get the information, guys. But okay, so far, okay. 6 villagers on in here is not very good on the queue, right? Because look at that. All this food that you are spending with tons and tons of villagers here on the queue, you should be using this resource in other stuff. So for example, he only got one upgrade on the wood, right? So if Grubby cancels some villagers here, he would have enough food to already upgrade the wood, and his economy would be a bit better. And here, because he saw a few knights, he's already upgrading pikemen, which I think is a very big investment, and I don't think he should have done that, in my opinion. So another mistake. So I don't know exactly how much resources you spend doing the pikeman upgrade here, but I don't think that's necessary, okay? If you see that your opponent is doing knights, one more common idea is to build a monastery. So instead of forcing too much army and investing too much on upgrades and doing a bunch of spearmen and maybe upgrading on the blacksmith, the attack and defense of the spearmen, all that is a lot of investment of resources, okay? And you know, if your opponent forces a lot of knights, maybe in the future you might consider, yes, making a switch to pikemen, to spearmen and stuff, to kill the knights, right? But right here, I don't think that's the right call. I think what Grubby should have done, instead of doing this university, he should have done a monastery, okay? So make a monastery, cancel this upgrade from the skirmishes, cancel this pikeman, cancel some views here, make the wood upgrade, make another lumber here, and in the near future maybe expand the base here, making a TC here, for example. And once again, make the monastery, start making some monks, and if your opponent comes with knights, you can convert, you can just put the monks here behind the walls, he tries to get inside, you get the monks, you convert some knights here, and there you go, you will defend from the knights just with monks, okay? So that will be a better way to play here. Why I think making university and upgrading elite skirmishers here are kind of bad, because you saw your opponent coming with knights. So why exactly are you upgrading the skirms? You shouldn't have done skirms in the first place, right? And you don't have too much army here of archers or anything to already try to make a university and try to make ballistics. So all those decisions, in my opinion, are completely wrong. But okay, he upgraded the skirms thinking that he might go for cavalry archers because he's Mongols, and he did archery range. But once again, you didn't get any information, right? If you get you know, if you send a spearman or something here to his base and see, oh, okay, my opponent is have tons and tons of cavalry archers, okay, maybe in this case you could upgrade the elite skirmisher and do the university, etc. But if you don't have any information, you're just you know, you're doing something that maybe is not the right call, you know. And in this case here is not the right call at all, in my opinion. So right here, what I would probably try to do, maybe I would, you know, play a bit more defensive, maybe at TCs here, try to get a better economy instead of trying to force an attack here, because your army is not very great here so far. So if you had, for example, 2 archery ranges and you did a lot of archers and stuff, then okay, then you go super aggressive, maybe make a siege workshop on your opponent's face and pressure here and pressure your opponent like this. But with that army, you know, it's not very scary, right? And you know, the opponent did a siege workshop here, so he might do some, and he already have a TC here, so your army won't do anything. He might do, yes, so scorpions and maybe mangonels, and look at that, your army will die like shit. So only one defense on the knights and you are full. Okay, and GG. So Grubby just gave the GG, which I don't think he was completely over yet. Look at that, he got a lot of resources here, so he could, you know, add a TC here, the monks, he could start gathering some relics, and if the opponent comes with the knights, you can try to convert. So right here, I think what Grubby should have done was, you know, play defensive, add maybe a TC here, maybe delete this palisade and send the villagers from the wood here to make a TC here as well. So you would expand your base a little bit, you know, you expand the base here, make another base here, you start making villagers on all your TCs, you play defensive with the monks and stuff. If your opponent eventually comes to your base trying to pressure with siege workshop and mangonels and stuff, you can build your own siege workshop and try to defend with monks and mangonels as well. And that's basically it. So you would boom, you would get a very nice economy, and you would be able to defend yourself and maybe eventually win the game. So I don't think he should have resigned already. Your opponent, yes, has some advantage. His score is much better so far, but you know, your exploration wasn't so nice. Let's see the opponents. Look at that, guys. Look at that. So you shouldn't trust 100% on the score. Look at that. So the opponent is clearly ahead. Oh my goodness, guys. Did you guys saw what I'm seeing here? So look at that, guys. So Grubby, look at this, guys. Let me just check something here. Yes. So look at that, guys. Grubby here, he got only 1 TC and he got 45 villagers. Okay, now look at the opponent. The opponent got 2 TCs. So in theory he should be ahead, but look at that, he got 44 villagers. Okay, but look at the difference, guys. Grubby exploration, if you check here on the minimap, he didn't explore too much on the minimap, right? So that's why his score is super low compared to the opponent. If you check the opponent's exploration, look at that, guys. He almost explored the entire freaking map, guys. So when you explore, you gain a lot of score as well. So the opponent here is not super ahead of you. Actually, your opponent has even 1 villager less compared to you, and you are only 1 TC and he got 2 TCs and he's down a villager somehow. So you're not super far behind here, right? So Grubby could still keep playing this, add like 2 TCs, make the wood upgrade, defend the monks, maybe siege workshop and mangonels if the opponent starts to pressure a lot. Eventually Grubby could, you know, get this some stone here, maybe add a castle here, or maybe add a castle here, for example, to control this area of the map. You would have a TC here, a castle here, another TC here. You would boom a lot, you would have a lot of villagers, your economy would be insane, and eventually you could still win this game, guys. So a lot of decisions that were made here were not the best decisions, but it's okay, it comes with more experience. So you gotta play a lot and expose yourself to a lot of different situations. Also, I would recommend you maybe watching recorded games from pro players and stuff, or you can also send me an email. Okay, so here's my email, guys. So if you guys liked this analysis and if you guys want me to analyze a game of yours, you know, you can send me an email here on this email that is showing on your screen right now, and I might analyze a game from you, but this is a paid service. So if you are interested in me analyzing a game of yours, I don't charge too much, okay? So it's not super expensive or anything. Once again, my English is not perfect. As you guys can see, I have a lot of accent and stuff, but I believe you guys could understand me here, all these explanations that I gave. And if you want me to analyze your game and point out your mistakes and stuff, what you should focus on, what decisions you did wrong or good, you know, you can send me an email there and we can you know, I can analyze for you for a certain price. Okay, but anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, so give it a like and subscribe if you want. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitch, guys, you can follow me there. I'll put the link in the description. Okay, so usually I make the streams in Portuguese, but if you say hi in the chat, I might say hi to you too and speak a little bit of my bad English for you guys. Okay, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys later. Oh my god, my English so sucks.